So imagine taking like 2,000 years of elite royal breeding genetics
Hmm.
that were meticulously designed exclusively for emperors, queens, and, ancient aristocrats,
Right.
and then dropping all of that straight into a modern 500 square foot apartment.
Yeah, it's quite the transition.
Like, what happens when a creature bred to do absolutely nothing but adore you suddenly has to, well, sit on the couch while you hop on a Zoom call?
It creates a really fascinating psychological clash. I mean, you have an animal with a historically monumental job description trying to navigate the mundane realities of the 21st century.
And that is exactly our mission for this deep dive. We are moving beyond the standard veterinary manuals, the dry historical timelines, and like the basic weight charts.
Yeah, those only tell you a fraction of the story.
Exactly. Our source material today is a remarkably comprehensive guide detailing the actual lived, everyday texture of sharing your home with a Maltese.
It's such a critical perspective. A dog isn't just a list of physical traits you can scroll through online. It is a living, breathing biological system that completely alters the emotional and physical ecosystem of your home, literally from the moment you wake up.
Okay, let's unpack this,
Mm.
because we have a lot of ground to cover today.
For sure.
We're going to explore the psychological reality of waking up with a deeply attached dog, the logistics of what actually happens in their brain when you leave them alone, the absolute myth of the maintenance-free small dog, and how to navigate family dynamics and outdoor adventures.
It's a packed agenda.
It really is. So whether you are actively considering bringing a small dog into your life, or you're just insanely curious about the mechanics of human-canine codependence, this deep dive will reveal what that daily reality actually looks like.
You know, that word you just used, codependence, is usually a massive red flag in human psychology.
Oh, totally.
But when we look at the source material on the Maltese, we realize that codependence is actually their baseline biological setting.
Because we've established that this dog essentially views your lap as its primary residence, we have to start at the very beginning of the day.
Right, the mornings.
Yeah. To understand the daily life of a Maltese, we have to look at the morning routine. This dog doesn't just casually share a house with you. The sources emphasize that it quietly weaves itself into the very fabric of your everyday existence.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this behavior is the direct result of 2 millennia of specialized breeding.
2 millennia, that's a long time to perfect one trait.
Exactly. From the ancient Mediterranean trade ports to the lapse of European nobility, the Maltese was bred for one highly specific, inescapable purpose, and that is companionship.
Right.
They weren't selectively bred to herd sheep across a valley or retrieve ducks from a freezing lake. Their genetic imperative, their hardwired job, is to physically monitor and remain near their chosen humans.
Which paints such a different picture than the standard image of a sleepy lapdog.
Yeah.
The sources describe mornings with a Maltese as involving a, quote, genuine attentive presence.
Yeah, they are fully clocked in.
They really are. They are watching the entire morning routine unfold. They sit near the bathroom door, they follow you into the kitchen, they constantly reposition themselves to keep you in their direct line of sight.
Always watching.
It sounds less like a casual pet and more like having a very affectionate, furry micromanager who needs to aggressively supervise your morning coffee routine.
That is the perfect way to visualize it. I mean, when a border collie stares at a flock of sheep, it's working.
Yeah.
When your Maltese is staring at you while you brush your teeth, it is working. It is actively performing its genetic function.
But wait, if their full-time biological job is to watch me make toast and brush my teeth, what happens when I inevitably have to leave for the office?
Right. The departure.
Because if this dog is genetically wired to be a constant shadow, like a Velcro dog, peeling off that fiction, a Velcro has to cause some friction.
Which brings us to the massive conundrum of alone time.
This is perhaps the most critical section in our source material because it confronts a major cultural misconception.
Well, there is this pervasive myth that physical size dictates emotional independence. People assume a tiny dog is perfectly content being left in an apartment for 10 hours a day.
Like treating it like an interactive houseplant.
Exactly. The reality, Maltese do not thrive in extended solitude without highly specific structure.
Wait, let me push back on that for a second.
Yeah.
If you are listening to this on your commute right now, thinking, I work an 8-hour day, I can't possibly own this dog, is it really that black and white?
It's a fair question.
Because aren't small dogs stereotypically the easy ones? You get a husky if you want to run 5 miles, and you get a small dog if you want to catch potato.
The physical exercise requirements might be lower for sure, but the emotional requirements are vastly higher.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, when you leave a highly bonded, codependent breed alone without preparation, their genetic drive to be near you goes completely unfulfilled.
And it builds up.
It does. That unfulfilled drive doesn't just disappear, it metabolizes into severe separation anxiety. Cortisol spikes, distress vocalization begins, and the dog genuinely suffers.
Wow.
However, the sources explicitly note they can handle a normal workday provided you execute what they call meaningful engagement before you walk out the door.
Meaningful engagement. So I can't just wake up, dump kibble in a bowl, give him a pat on the head, and run to catch the train.
Not if you want a sane dog. You have to systematically deplete their physical and mental energy reserves first.
How do you do that with such a small dog, though?
That means a structured walk where you let them actively sniff because olfactory processing burns immense mental energy for dogs, followed by interactive play or a short training session.
Oh, so you're really working their brain.
Yes, you are essentially filling their social cup to the brim before you ask them to endure a period of isolation.
The sources also mention providing a comfortable, safe space, like a structured pen, and utilizing puzzle toys. I assume those puzzle toys serve a deeper purpose than just, keeping them distracted.
They absolutely do. A puzzle toy filled with food forces the dog to problem solve and lick, which scientifically lowers their heart rate.
Really? Just licking lowers the heart rate?
Yeah, it acts as a self-soothing mechanism. It constructively bridges the gap of alone time. So if we look at the ideal owner profile, it isn't necessarily a wealthy aristocrat who never leaves the house,
Right.
but it does need to be someone with a flexible schedule, someone who works from home, or someone who is incredibly disciplined about their morning engagement routine.
Because if you have an extremely demanding schedule and you want a low-involvement pet that just ignores you until the weekend,
Yeah.
this is a fundamental lifestyle mismatch.
100%.
Now, knowing that their core need is this deep, structured engagement with you, how does that physical presence dictate how they interact with the physical space of a home?
The living space debate is endlessly fascinating. I mean, people obsess over square footage.
They really do. Like, you need a mansion for a dog.
Right. They think to give a dog a good life, they need a sprawling 4-bedroom house with a massive yard. But our sources confirm the Maltese actually excels in small apartments.
Because, again, they don't want to run laps in a giant empty room. They want to be exactly where you are.
Exactly.
The text is very pointed about this. A massive backyard is nice, but it absolutely does not replace structured walks. You can't just open the back patio door, let the dog out into the grass, and check exercise off your daily list.
If you let a Maltese out into a massive yard by itself, it will simply walk to the boundary line, turn around, and stare at the door waiting for you to come out.
Just waiting to get back to work.
Yeah. An engaged owner in a studio apartment who takes their dog on 2 focused neighborhood walks a day is providing a vastly superior psychological environment than someone with a sprawling country estate who never actually interacts with the animal.
Since their environment is completely defined by the humans in it, we have to talk about family dynamics, specifically children.
This is a really important one.
Because a Maltese is tiny, typically under 7 pounds, and kids are, well, incredibly unpredictable.
Children love to move fast, they love to grab, and they love to squeeze.
Right.
The sources highlight that Maltese can form deeply affectionate, beautiful bonds with kids. But because of the dog's sheer physical delicacy, I mean, their bones are quite literally fragile compared to a larger breed, children must be explicitly taught the mechanics of gentle interaction.
It's like teaching a child the difference between playing with a robust plastic toy versus a delicate heirloom antique.
That is true visually, but let's take that analogy deeper into the actual mechanics of the interaction.
Okay.
If you drop a plastic toy, it bounces. If you drop an antique, it shatters. With a Maltese, a child cannot pick the dog up because a drop from 3 feet in the air could mean a shattered leg.
Oh, wow. That's terrifying.
So the rules of engagement must completely change. You have to teach a child to sit calmly on the floor and let the dog approach them. No chasing, no grabbing from behind.
And I imagine it requires vigilant, ongoing supervision from the parents.
Absolutely non-negotiable.
What about the other inhabitants of the home, other pets?
They do quite well, actually. They often live very peacefully with cats, establishing quiet, shared spatial routines.
That's sweet.
Yeah, and they also thrive with other dogs, provided those dogs are gentle and appropriately sized. Again, it always comes back to managing that profound physical fragility.
This raises an important question regarding a massive stereotype I noticed while reading the sources.
Let's hear it.
If they are this fragile and require this much careful handling, are they strictly meant to be companions for the elderly?
This raises an important question about how we fundamentally misunderstand breed suitability. They are indeed wonderful for older owners because their physical strength is entirely manageable.
Right, they aren't going to pull you over on a leash.
Exactly, but it is a complete myth that they are only for seniors. They thrive with first-time owners, young couples, and active families. As long as the core needs of training, socialization, and boundary management are met, their adaptability is staggering.
That adaptability is incredible, but that physical delicacy you keep mentioning acts as a perfect bridge to our next major topic. We need to completely dismantle the maintenance-free myth.
Oh, we definitely do.
Because I read through these sources and realized that just because a dog fits in a tote bag does not mean it is low maintenance. In fact, their physical vulnerability directly dictates their intense maintenance needs.
The maintenance effort isn't eliminated. It is just distributed completely differently than a large breed.
How so?
Let's look at the grooming mechanics, which is a massive part of their daily routine. A Maltese doesn't have traditional dog fur. They have a single coat of hair that grows continuously, much like human hair.
Okay.
Because they lack an undercoat, friction from harnesses or even just sleeping causes those fine strands to lock together like Velcro.
So the daily brushing mentioned in the text isn't just to make them look pretty for Instagram.
No, not at all.
If you skip it, those mats pull tightly against the skin, causing severe pain and potential skin infections.
Exactly. Daily brushing is mandatory medical maintenance. The sources suggest reframing this necessity.
Reframing it how?
Instead of viewing it as a frustrating daily chore, it must become a daily bonding ritual, which ties perfectly back to their psychological need for dedicated one-on-one connection.
But the maintenance isn't just physical time, it's a stark financial reality. You're signing up for professional grooming appointments every 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, that adds up.
And the sources also highlight a major predisposition to dental issues and the need for cardiac evaluations.
Let's break down the biology there. Small dogs have the exact same number of adult teeth, 42, as a massive Great Dane.
Wait, really? The same number?
The exact same number. But those 42 teeth are crammed into a tiny, fragile jaw. That crowding creates deep crevices where plaque thrives, leading to rapid periodontal disease.
Yikes.
And the bacteria from severe dental disease can enter the bloodstream and affect the heart valves, which directly links to the cardiac evaluations the sources mention.
So securing comprehensive pet insurance early, before any pre-existing conditions pop up, is not a luxury. It is an everyday logistical necessity.
Absolutely.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Out of grooming and health costs, the aspect of maintenance that absolutely blew my mind was behavior. We constantly give small dogs a free pass on atrocious behavior simply because they are small.
We do, and it is a massive failure of canine psychology. The sources emphasize heavily that a small physical footprint does not reduce the need for strict boundaries and training.
Think about it. If a 70-pound Doberman jumps on your chest or aggressively guards its food bowl, you address it immediately because it is a genuine physical threat to your safety.
Right.
But when a 7-pound Maltese does the exact same thing, humans tend to laugh. We pull out our phones, film it, and call it feisty. We think it's manageable because we can just pick them up and move them.
And by doing that, we are creating a psychological nightmare for the dog. When you don't provide boundaries, a small dog develops what we colloquially call small dog syndrome. But structurally, it is a scarcity mindset. It is like a person with a tiny bank account guarding their last $10.
Oh, that makes so much sense.
Because the dog physically lacks the size and strength to defend itself, it feels incredibly vulnerable in a giant world. If you don't act as their leader, they feel forced to use aggression and excessive barking to create distance and protect themselves.
The anxiety must be exhausting for them. Without clear boundaries, the text notes they develop resource guarding and possessiveness. They need structure just as much as a working German Shepherd does.
Yep. The structure is what makes them feel secure enough to relax.
And that directly applies to how they handle visitors. Because this dog is biologically wired to monitor you, how do they react when a stranger enters their territory?
Well, they are naturally alert. When someone approaches the door, a Maltese will vocalize. They are going to bark to alert you that the perimeter has been breached.
Which means an absolute necessity for an owner, especially in an apartment, is teaching what the sources call a reliable, quiet cue.
Yes. You cannot suppress their natural instinct to alert you that is hardwired.
Right.
But you must train them to understand that once they sound the alarm, You, as the capable leader, are taking over. The initial alarm barking should transition into friendly curiosity once you welcome the visitor inside.
You acknowledge the alert, give the quiet cue, and relieve them of their guard duty.
Precisely.
All right, so let's zoom out. We've established this highly calibrated, delicate ecosystem. You have your intense morning supervision, your carefully managed departures for work, the fragile family dynamics, the daily brushing mechanics, and the strict behavioral boundaries.
There's a lot of spinning plates.
It is. What happens when real life throws a massive wrench into that ecosystem? Let's look at adventures and routine disruptions.
Because highly bonded dogs use spatial and temporal routines as emotional safety nets, they are exquisitely sensitive to change.
Oh, sure.
If you have loud house guests for the holidays or you are packing up boxes to move, the Maltese will feel that disruption on a profound level.
How does an owner mitigate that stress?
The sources outline that the key is maintaining their baseline temporal anchors.
The pearl anchors.
Yeah, time-based routines. Even if your living room is full of moving boxes, you feed them at the exact same minute you always do. You take them for their focused, sniff-heavy walk at the exact same time.
I see.
That rigid structure acts as a psychological anchor when their physical environment is in chaos.
I was actually incredibly surprised by this section on physical adventures outside the home. I had built up this image of the Maltese as an almost painfully fragile creature that should be kept wrapped in a blanket on the sofa.
A lot of people think that.
But the sources actively dismantle that myth. They are fully capable of enjoying gentle hikes, they love exploring cafes, and they are genuinely curious animals that want to navigate the world.
What's fascinating here is that immense canine confidence and delicate physical fragility can coexist beautifully in the exact same animal.
Yeah.
Inside that 7-pound frame is the spirit and adventurous curiosity of a much larger working dog.
So on a practical, everyday basis, how do you balance those two realities? How do you let them be a real dog without putting them in danger?
It requires the owner to act as a highly mindful physical buffer. You are the bodyguard to their inner adventurer.
I love that. The bodyguard.
Yeah. You take them on the woodland hike, you bring them to the busy outdoor patio, you let their personality shine, but you are constantly scanning the environment.
Looking for threats.
Always.
Yeah.
You are ensuring an off-leash golden retriever doesn't playfully bowl them over and snap a leg. You are ensuring they don't jump off a high retaining wall and destroy their joints. You handle the physical security, which frees them up to confidently experience the world.
I love that concept. You act as a physical bodyguard so they can just focus on being a dog.
Exactly.
So what does this all mean? We have journeyed through the intensive morning watch, the complex psychology of leaving them alone, the realities of apartment living and child safety, the undeniable mechanics of their grooming and health, and the balance of protecting their fragility while honoring their adventurous spirit.
We've covered a lot.
If we synthesize all these sources, living with a Maltese means sharing your home with an animal uniquely engineered over 2 millennia to do one specific job, and that is to be your constant, devoted companion.
And the ultimate takeaway from the source material is that this job requires immense reciprocal effort from you.
For sure.
It requires daily brushing, rigorous behavioral boundaries, financial preparation for health realities, and a profound emotional investment.
It is the ultimate reminder that a dog's physical size absolutely does not dictate the size of the commitment. A tiny 7-pound dog can demand just as much lifestyle adjustment, if not more, than a 70-pound dog.
Oh, absolutely.
But the trade-off, the reward for all that structure and maintenance, is an incredibly deep, uniquely bonded relationship. They don't just live in your house, they weave their entire existence into the daily story of your life.
They really do. And as we close out this deep dive, I want to leave you with one final thought to ponder.
Let's hear it.
We talked extensively about how the Maltese spent centuries serving as the ultimate companion for ancient nobility. These were aristocrats who lived on sprawling estates, who rarely had to leave their homes for labor, and who possessed the immense luxury of uninterrupted time to spend with their lapdogs.
The ultimate exclusive VIP lifestyle.
Precisely. But consider the massive societal shifts in how we live today. Think about the rise of the digital age, the explosion of remote work, and the modern home office.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
We might have accidentally engineered the absolute perfect historical era for this specific breed. For centuries, that level of constant, everyday companionship was a rare luxury reserved for kings and queens.
And now?
Now, anyone with a laptop, a decent Wi-Fi connection, and a home office can essentially provide the exact lifestyle this ancient breed has been waiting for all along. Sitting by the bathroom door, supervising the coffee maker, and watching you answer emails all day, you have essentially become their modern noble estate.